Good evening, it's the Romany Rye. I was talking to my cousin Eddie today, and he brought back a story to me. Me and his father, Uncle Eddie. Well, first of all, when Eddie put the hole in the edge in me scrapyard in the garden, Uncle Eddie said to me, I got a load of iron to look at. He said, but it's all quarry stuff. Down the tarmac plant, down St. Kevin. I said, oh yeah. He said, would you be interested? I said, yeah. Uncle Joey was working for me, and a couple of other chappies I had. So down I goes, down to this tarmac quarry. And Uncle Eddie was a bugger for going on the job, leaving the men and pissing off all day. You never know what he'd done, and he'd come back to the job. So sometimes he would drop them there on the job, go away and not come back till 4:45, 5 o'clock. Anyway, this is what happened. I goes down and looks at it. There's a lot of big stuff there. So I said to Uncle Joey, I said, Uncle Joe, we got a job there in St. Kevin. I said, well, Uncle Eddie. No, he said, I ain't doing that much. He said, I worked with E before. He dropped me on the job. I said, no. I said, that won't happen, Uncle Joe. I said, I'll make sure. All right, he said. Right, now, we buys this stuff. And at the same time, he took me to another place, and I showed him where a lorry was. So we bought this lorry, this big Leyland lorry, and we put a tipping body on it. So we're down there working now. Exactly what he said wouldn't happen. He said, we'll jet off a minute. I said, no, I got to stay here. He said, no, let's go. Anyway, we went off, left Uncle Joey there with 2 or 3 others. So time was going on. I'm glad he seen this one and that one. What did Uncle Joey do? Jumped in Uncle Eddie's lorry to TK and decided to come home. We're on the way to St. Kevin, and Uncle Joey's on the way home. And Uncle Eddie was flashing in all the way home, pulling out in the middle of the road, flashing in, drove up beside him, waiting down. He said, no, Rich, I'm heading home, and kicked one leg up with his hand, see? Anyway, got back to the yard. Uncle Eddie started to shout, don't shout at me, Rich, he said. He was called Rich. He said, I told you I ain't sticking that. Anyway, that was that. So I builds this Leyland up. Me and boy Eddie puts a body on him, right? Especially for carrying the scrap, see? So the old man said to him, he said to us, he said, whatever you do, make sure there's diesel in that lorry. Anyway, we put diesel in, but not enough. Right. So we've gets there this morning and gets some moisture with the big loader. Loading these big lumps on the lorry. Lumps like 2 and 3 ton a piece. We could carry 10 ton on this lorry, see? Big lumps anyway. We puts it on the lorry, goes back down into the quarry now to get over the weighbridge. Because the stuff was up the top. This quarry had come out of the hills like that. He gets down the bottom, turns around, pulls up on the weighbridge. Now, the thing of it was, you couldn't hold the tarmac lorries up, because once you'd done that, you'd be out the gate. Anyway, What happened to me and Eddie? We're all on the weighbridge now. Eddie gets out, leaves the lorry taken over, goes into the weighbridge to look at the weight. Lorry runs out of diesel on the weighbridge. Oh, Uncle Eddie was running up and down. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Anyway, we got the mush to tow us off the weighbridge with the big loading shovel. Pulled us off. Got some diesel. Put the diesel in the lorry, bleeding up through. Big old lane it was. And when I speak to Eddie and interview him, I'd ask him to tell you this tale. Right, we overloaded. We had 11.5 ton on this lorry. I said to Eddie, putting in quarry gear mush, because we'd never get up this hill. He said, what do you mean? I said, I'm telling you. Anyway, he wouldn't listen, see? He putting in second low. He said, we got one more there if we need it. I said, mush, putting in quarry now, he'll be right. What happened? We gets halfway up this hill, and this lorry's dying. So I opens the door. He said, what are you doing, mush? I said, I'm going to fucking jump out. I said, this lorry ain't going to make this hill. Anyway, we gets to the engine, nearly dies. He slaps her in bottom, and she just goes, rrr, rrr. I opened the door, and the front wheels of the lorry was coming off the ground like that. He said, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to fucking jump, I am. There's no way I'm staying here. He said, shut the door. He couldn't get out, see, because it was one of the big old laylings with the engine in the side here, and the driver, well, and the passenger, only had a little bit of room. So there was no way he could jump out. Oh, that was some day, that was. I tell you the truth. We gets back to the yard now. And we got to tip this stuff off. Well, we tipped it off, right? We tipped it off and we ripped the back end of the lorry right out. Uncle Eddie come back. He said, what's happened to the lorry? Yeah. I think Eddie's still got that old lorry down in his old yard. But that was down the tarmac quarry. Yeah. Uncle Joey said, Uncle Joey said, we're down the tarmac quarry. Yeah, that's right, mush, he said. I'll take my own lorry. That was my lorry, like. I said, how's that? He said, I ain't being left there on no job again, was not what he said, I know what he's like. Uncle Eddie, see, he would get on the job, leave home on the dot in the mornings, but get on the job, then he'd want to go off. And he'd go off and he'd find the best shop he could, find the best bits of ham he could, and cheese and a bit of bread and onion. And then he'd drive off somewhere, park up, and cut that up with a tea towel and a knife or plate. And he'd have his bit of scrap. And then he'd go and take anybody he could till the job was good. Uncle Joey wouldn't have none of it. Oh, I'll never forget that day. But I was only talking to my cousin Eddie this morning about it. He said, yeah, that's the time when you was going to jump out. Yeah, I was going to jump out. He's somehow. Anybody that lives down in the West Country will tell you, oh, my God. My God. But then when we got back to the place, as I said, we tipped it off and ripped the back end of the lorry out. I had to weld all that up again. But that's just one old tale that happened to me with the scrapyard down there. And my poor Uncle Joe, I can see him now. But I'm glad he was up beside him when the guy took his hat off, waved his hat, and then he went to get with his hand. I ain't stopping until I get home. That's what he done. Oh, good old times, though. Good old times. Well, that's about it tonight from the Romany Rye. That's an old scrap tale of when I first started out there. So for now, it's bye-bye from the Romany Rye.